Okay, so now that you guys have learned how to do images, loading images, um, let's actually start kind of walking through this. If we're looking here, the color of this is switching. So we got a couple things that we got to do. Um, One, we have to get the DVD logo actually to display instead of the rectangle. So I'm going to walk through pieces of this using also Photopea to make sure that we're getting what we want. Okay, um, so let's look for the DVD logo. And with Wikipedia Commons, we could usually find something pretty good that we could use. Okay, so here is this. This is what we want. Okay, now normally when you look up images, if you see this checkered, that means that it's a transparent background. Okay, so when we're looking here, if we seen the background, then that wouldn't be black, that would be white. Um, Okay, so we want to have something that has a transparent background, which means that it needs to be an SVG file or a PNG file. Okay, so here this is should be a transparent background. So let's go ahead and download this file. Okay, I'm going to download this file. Just call it DVD logo. That's fine. Okay, there it is. Now, I want to go ahead and open it up. When I'm opening it, I'm seeing white on the background. Let's go into Photopea. Photopea is some very simple image manipulation software, but you don't have to have a membership for it. You just have stupid ads on the right. Okay, Photopea.com. All right, we need to open up that file, whatever we downloaded, and bring it in. Okay, now when I'm looking here, I can slide my fingers on the mouse pad. You can hit Command or Control and the plus or the minus to shrink your sizes down. Okay. Now the SVG, it kind of kept everything as separate pieces. Okay. Um, that's useful. If we did it the other way where we are downloading it was an SVG and it was a PNG, that's okay too. I'm going to walk through both steps. This, you need to get some practice at doing this. Now, if we were going to ever try to change the color of something, we're looking here, the only way that we can do that is we got to have it actually be white, and then we can add colors to it. Okay, we basically want the outline of the shape. So here, we want to be able to select all of these colors and then color them white. Okay, so it already pulled it in as a checker. And if I want to make sure that this is transparent, an easy way to do this is I create an extra layer, and that's using this right here. I'm going to come here to create a shape, and we want to just change the color. I'm just going to pick some ugly color to make a square, and I'm just going to drag this behind. Okay, if that was not transparent, or if I didn't have this all the way at the bottom, I wouldn't see it. Now, I'm seeing still the lettering, I'm seeing that red, so I know that I have that transparency. That's what those checkered are. Sometimes you could pull an image in and it's still going to show the checkered, but it's not actually transparent because now that has become the background. Okay, so let's select all the black, and then we're going to make that so we can color that white. Okay, so in order to do that, I can pick this right here. Over here, this is the magic wand. There's a couple ways that we can try to select things. Magic wand is a good one. Now, I want to select this M, this T right down here, the little DVD thing, and the word DVD. So that means I want to sample all layers. And if you're trying to go for something specific as a color, you may not want to have contiguous selected. Contiguous just means that everything is touching. Okay. Sometimes you want to have that on, sometimes you don't want to have that on. In this case, I don't want to have it on, but I do want to select all the layers. So it may be a little bit hard to see, but once I clicked, I have lines going around everything for those shapes. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to select the paintbrush. I want to select this as white. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to move that all the way to white. I'm going to increase the size of my brush. Okay, this is just my brush options. And then now with everything selected, I should be able to, oh, it may not let us do it separately. Okay, maybe we can't sample all letters. We got to do this one at a time. Okay. Well, select. Let's deselect all. We'll use the magic tool again. I'm on that DVD layer piece. I selected it. I got my brush. Ooh. I don't normally edit SVGs. There we go. Okay. In order for us to do this, we got to rasterize. So if we right click, we can rasterize each piece. Okay. Now I can color, and notice, like, even though I'm trying to go over the DVD, it's not doing it because I don't have that layer selected. I need to be on the layer. Okay. So to get this layer right here, I need to come back to the magic tool. I have that selected, then I can come back to the brush and I could color just that layer. Okay, now we got my T and the M. Let's select again, quick wand, select the color. There it is, see that M right there? Okay, I want to paint that. Ooh, that's not what we wanted at all. We got more than what we wanted. Okay, let's go back to our quick wand. So this is, let me go ahead and undo. Let's go to the sample all layers when we do it, and then we're going to select. Make sure that we got it selected. We want to select everything at the same time. The way that I'm working, okay, I'm going to do this a little bit simpler. I think if we flatten the image and get rid of the transparency, since it's all black, it will probably be easier. But we can do rasterize. We rasterize everything. Okay, everything's now rasterized. Now if I use my quick selection, see how it's selecting the T, the M, the DVD, and that. Okay, I should be able to now color everything. There we go. Okay. That is it. And then we can, so that is what I'm looking at right there. That's what I want. Okay, so now we can deselect. I want to export this, so I'm going to go to File, Export As, and I need to do a PNG. Okay, SVG, it does keep a little bit of that stuff, but it'd be better for you to do a PNG. So let's just call it DVD logo. We save that, and then we're going to come into our editor, and that's what we're going to bring in. So we're just going to bring that in So I want you to duplicate this initial DVD logo. So we're going to go here, make sure that you duplicate, and then we'll call this DVD logo image. And this is without color. Color is something that we can do. I'll show you towards the end of this, but you'll end up having performance issues. So there's a way that we can work around it. But we need to upload that file. Okay. Once it finishes loading, then I want to actually have something to hold on to it. So let's just call it image, and then I need to preload it. So function preload, and I'm going to load that image. And you did this in the previous walkthrough. Load image. Select that file, so dvd underscore logo.png, and then I have it now. Okay, I can test for it if I wanted to. So console.log image.width. See how it's giving you that value? Okay, because this had to load before I get into the setup. So that means that when I come here, instead of me doing this rectangle, notice how I'm doing it at this axis, y, this width, and this height. All of that can basically stay. I don't need this stroke anymore. I basically want to do the image. I just want to load that image. So I want to say image, this.x, this.y, this.width, this.height. Now when I run this, there is my DVD. Okay. Now it's not changing color, but that is the DVD. So if you guys successfully did your Y positions, then you would have this bouncing across the screen. There are a number of things that we could do, though. We could check. If we could check each corner. Basically, it would have to, instead of this being an or, we could say if this and now I need to check each individual corner. I could have it keep some type of score. I could have it do something. I could have it display text. If it hits, I could have some type of counter in the middle of the screen, which is going to be a challenge for you guys to actually build that in there. But this move, all that's doing is just dealing with the movement. If I wanted to do some type of color change, that is where I'm going to end up having to have it switch, which we've seen that before. We do that color change, we could have it switch. Now, how do you switch the color of an image? One way to do this is through using the tint. So let me show that. Tint, now this works, but this will cause serious performance issues during a draw because this is literally coloring every single pixel a different color. So it's using this as like what goes in on top of it. Okay, so if you don't want that performance hit, so if I did that, let's just say I wanted to tint it like blue. There's the tint. It's blue. Notice how it just starts slowing down. Okay. Because I'm literally taking the entire image and I'm drawing pixel by pixel. I'm applying that tint to it. Okay. There's a better way that we could do this. And that's where we actually create a graphic, load the image as part of the graphic, and then we're moving that graphic. So we could change the tinting of that graphic. But instead of making it happen all the time. We only have it happen once, and then it stays that way. Otherwise, once this tint gets applied, it basically it has to reapply it every single time. So what we ultimately want, if we want to have this not have a performance issue, we need to take this DVD logo, and once I color it, say that violet color, it's permanently that violet color until I change the color. So that's the way that we would get around that for the performance issue. But with all of this, whenever you're doing something with an image, you're going to end up having to put it into Photopea. You're going to have to separate some stuff. We need to end up using transparent layers. That is a necessity for you to have a transparency. SVG, we played with that. Let's actually do this now, the same thing, but with a PNG. Okay, so I'm going to click back, and let's say I'm still here. This is that pixel. This is what I want. I'm going to save this image. This is the one that we just grabbed, but I don't want to save it as a PNG as this one because that's what's already there. Let's call it found DVD logo.png. Okay, now if I come into Photopea, one thing that I have found, if you're trying to save anything, you can save, it's going to download it to your computer, okay? But if you try to ever do like new, we don't really need to deal with this. We don't need to deal with sizing or any of that stuff. All we got to do is just drag this in, okay? That's the easiest way that I would tell you, and that's by reloading this. So again, I'm reloading. I'm not holding on to anything. I'm dragging that in. If you want to hold on to these files, you got to download them. File, export as. Okay, you could save this as a PSD. That would save it to your computer. Then you could load that PSD and you can continue working. Okay, so here is my stuff. Again, it's already rasterized because it's not an SVG, it's a PNG. Okay, so I can come here, I can select everything, because notice it's only one level. I can select that, and then I can go to my brush, and then I can size up. So let's size up the brush, and we just painted everything white. Okay, now I can unselect, export as a PNG. Okay, now this will load exactly the same. Found DVD logo 1.png. That's because I edited it. So if I have it here, if this is what I want to load it into this. It's the same process. We locate the file, load the file, make sure that that's preloaded. So I could just restore it here. So I'm going to type this exact name with all the cases and the spaces. So it's preferable to not have any of this extra junk in here. One. That might actually cause us some issues. It didn't. It did find it. Okay, so there is the file. Now here, if you didn't want to type all of this stuff, you can rename it. You could take off this right there, click enter. Now it's saved without that. If I reran this, it's going to error out. It can't find that file because I just changed the name. There it is. There's my file. Okay, so you got DVD logo image with without color. The tint we have, but we're not having it actively change. That is something that you could do in some type of an update. So you have this display function, you have a move function. Doing an update function would allow you to be able to change that color, change the tint values of what you would want, because you could basically have 3 more attributes of a red, green, and a blue, and then those are the values that you put in for your tint that are getting changed whenever we have an edge hit. Okay? All right, good luck. Have fun.